Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Beatdowns with the Boz. And as we're getting to the end of this standard season, things are getting a little stale. I've covered all the Pro Tour decks, and there hasn't really been any big innovations in the standard format. It's just been a lot of band company. So I figured I'd bring you something new and fresh. And so today I have this really sweet red-green werewolf deck. So some of the cards in it you may recognize, like Duskwatch Recruiter and Lambholt Pacifist. You've seen them throughout Standard, and they're great cards. But this deck has a lot of other sweet cards too. Ulvenwald Captive ends up being a mana accelerant that also can turn into a 4/6. Notably, casting Collected Company on turn 3 is like insane. Casting Arlinn Cord on turn 3 is also really good. But Ulvenwald Captive does a lot of work in this deck. It lets you flood out early and then still have a lot of power and toughness to attack with later on. Geier Reach Bandit, if it's just a nice haste threat, but if you flip it, then all of your subsequent werewolves can come out flipped, including this Ulvenwald Captive, which is pretty insane because once you flip it, it doesn't flip back. So in addition to the Geier Reach Bandit, at the 3-drop slot, we have Breakneck Rider, which if it flips, it gives all your creatures +1/+0 and trample, or excuse me, all your attackers. And you see that this is kind of a common theme in the deck. In the main deck, there's essentially 10 cards that can give all of your creatures at least +1/+0 and trample, which is pretty insane. Because if you're just putting a lot of power and toughness onto the board, you're going to make it so that these Anthem effects are something that you can really leverage. I have 2 Hermit of the Natterknolls, simply just to fill out the curve, but it also does a lot of good work in terms of making it difficult for your opponent to cast spells on your turn when you're trying to make a big attack, or when you're just trying to pass with all of your mana open so that your werewolves flip. If you do pass with your mana open, the things that you're going to be looking to cast are Collected Company, which you've seen a million times. I'm not going to talk about it more. But there's also Howlpack Resurgence, which is also a nice combat trick, and Spirit of the Hunt, which is a nice combat trick and also a great way to protect all your guys from Languish, which is one of the big problems of playing a deck like this is, they flip their Avacyn or they have some other sweeper and your board is gone, but Spirit of the Hunt is a great card to actually protect you from that fate. So Arlinn Cord, I mentioned it before, but a really sweet Planeswalker, not actually as powerful as I would like it to be. This could easily be a Collective Defiance or 2 Moonlight Haunts, but I'm still kind of holding out to see if there's some real power revealed in this card, because it is really sweet, and it's well rounded, which is the other thing. So I like it as a main deck card, although I foresee that I'll probably be sideboarding it out frequently. And then the one other card in the deck worth talking about is Ulrich of the Krallenhorde. This card is kind of insane. It's a really big body that has a really big impact the turn you play it. And if it flips, it's just going to kill anything. 6/6 is really big in this format. And this deck can flip things pretty easily. I mean, it's built to flip stuff. And that's one of the big things in this deck is like all of these werewolves, they're so good when they're flipped. They're like way over the power level for what you would normally get from a creature of this mana cost. And we have all of these instants so that we can hold our mana open and then flip our guys and then make a really big attack and kill our opponent. We're 2 colors, which is also really nice. Our mana base is super, super clean. And that basically covers the main deck. So on the sideboard, we just have some extra removal. Rending Volley is awesome. Moonlight Hunt is actually kind of an insane removal spell also. It's like a pseudo Doomblade in a deck like this. It's really strong. Excuse me. And then we also have 2 Silverfur Partisans for when our opponents are trying to kill every single creature we play with spot removal. To note, Silverfur Partisan also triggers when you target your own stuff, like if you have any kind of fight cards or anything like that. And then one more Spirit of the Hunt, the 4th copy, in case we do face some sweepers. An Arlinn Cord, just in case we need more removal or more planeswalkers. Decimator of Provinces in case we need a little bit more power, toughness, and trample. And then I have 2 Waxing Moons on the sideboard just because it's a pretty sweet card in this deck. I don't think it's actually worth a slot, but being able to flip your Ulrichs or your Breakneck Riders is like a really powerful effect. So like there's definitely a lot of situations where I kind of wish I had in my hand. I mean, sometimes they just target, your Hermit with a 3 damage burn spell, and if you can just flip it, it's like insane. Same goes for the Lambholt Pacifist. So, or just flipping Ulvenwald Captive out of nowhere. So, like I said, I don't think it's worth a slot, but I could see myself boarding it in some situations just because there are scenarios where it can end up playing out to be really powerful. But anyway, that's enough of me talking about the random cards. Let's get into some games and let's see how much power and toughness we can shove in our opponents' faces.